If you grew up in the 90s, you or someone you know had this table. It's such a staple of that era. Classic honey finish, turned legs, but it's worn out. It's seen all of the family dinners, it's seen the hours and hours of high school homework, and it's time for this table now to get a fresh new look. So the first thing I'm going to do is set out some plastic because it's about to get messy. I'm going to put some stripper on here, and although most of this finish is really worn off through the middle of it, there's parts of it that are still on there really thick. So the stripper is going to just help me get through the first couple of layers. I'm going to let that sit on there for about 10 minutes. And when I come back, it's already starting to dry, unfortunately. I would say when you put stripper on a table, don't skimp on it. Use it liberally. Put a bunch on there, but it's a warm day today and it just started setting up. And yes, you can cover it with plastic wrap. I just don't usually do that. So I'm going to do as much as I can with the putty knife and just getting a lot of that off of there. And then I also like to use the carbide scraper. Now, the carbide scraper on super dry finish like this is no fun, but following stripper when that finish is all gummy and coming off easy, I can do a lot of that almost one-handed. It's just coming off. It's just working better than the putty knife. All right, once I got all of that off there, it's time to do some sanding. Now you can see I've got 3 different types of papers I'm using. Well, they're not really paper, but abrasives. This first one I'm going to go in with an 80 grit sanding net. I get a lot of questions about why in the world do you use a sanding net? Well, at this stage of the game, especially when I have hooked up to my vacuum, I love a sanding net. That was my 80. I did a full pass on it, and now I'm going to this one, and I'm going to use this pad. I'm trying to get that thing off there. These pads are fantastic for doing things that have curves, and all of these edges are curves. Now, those that know me know that I love my surf prep, and I'm going to pull it out here in a minute, but when I'm doing this and I'm still in the stripping mode, this pad on an orbital is amazing. It really does great, especially with a sanding net on it. I just love it. It gets through this finish fast. Okay, so we are looking pretty good. All those gray areas and everything are pretty well stripped off, but we're not done yet. We've got more sanding to do. So I am just moving up in grits, and I started at 80, and then this is 120. Now I'm going with paper 120, and I'm going to be staining. So I don't want to do I'm not going to go to 300 grit, but I went to 150. And I'm just wanting to make sure and get everything sanded. Because of all these different variations in wood, it needed a little extra. And here's my favorite sander, of course, the Surf Prep. I'm using this for finishing. So the other one was great for just getting in there with some grit and getting that stuff off of there. But when I'm doing finishing and details on these curves, I want that sander. And here we are, looking beautiful. Now, wouldn't it be lovely if it just stayed that color? But as soon as you start putting any products on it, it's right back to honey, because that is the type of wood that it is. This is rubber wood. It's a really common hard wood that was used a lot in the 90s for dining sets. And it's durable and wears well, but it's yellow, so that's its natural color. I am putting a wood conditioner on here because this is my pre-stain. I'm staining this. This is what I'm staining it to match. This is the counter in my client's home. And they've given me a plate made out of the same wood. Isn't that walnut beautiful? But I've got to try and match it. And how many colors were on that plate? About 150. So I'm going to just do the general idea around what those tones are. And you'll see I'm mixing a couple of colors. I've got a hickory, and I think this is candlelight, and it's walnut. I'm going to be doing all kinds of things here just to try to see if I can at least match the general tone. Now I have an edger. This is a painting edger. I'm putting some gel stain on there because I can cover a big surface in a small amount of time with this edger. It really helps everything go on more evenly, especially when you're working with a large surface rather than doing this with a rag or some type of small poly brush. So I'm liking this color. I like it quite a bit. I think it's matching pretty well. And I decided to use a gel stain here just so I can get that depth that I was looking for. I felt like a penetrating stain wasn't quite going to give me what I needed for this project. So I went with a gel stain because gel stains sit up more up on top of the wood, where the penetrating stain really soaks down into the wood. Now, are we matching? I don't think we're quite matching yet. So let's try another stain. I thought I needed to add a bit of a darker brown tone to it. Now, mind you, in between coats, I'm having to wait overnight. So this is a really slow moving process here. So every time I decide I'm going to add a new color, I had to wait for it to dry. So here I am with a darker tone. And I just went ahead and put gel stain on kind of out in a pattern so that it would kind of drag around here. I'm just going to have to get it all smoothed out and around. Because of all the variations, both in my piece and also the one I'm matching, I'm not so worried about it being a little streaky or having color variations to it, because it's kind of what I'm going for here. But I am going to be able to get this on here nice and even. And then wipe it all back. And I have to go through about 10 paper towels for this. And these are the shop towels. I think the shop towels work the best for getting this stain off of here. You can use old t-shirts or microfiber towels. Those work great too. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Again, here's my test. And now I feel like I went a little too brown. Oh, okay. Well, let's let it sit again and put on another color. Now, I just went with a little bit of the Candlelight, that first mixture that I did. And I don't know if you saw, but I look a little defeated here because this is pulling so much color off. Watch my arm. Ugh. Seriously? Why'd you have to do that? Sometimes when you put layers on, your top layer of stain will just pull everything from underneath. But I put more brown on there and I got that color. And that's what I was searching for. And I'm sorry I didn't show that one. But I went back to the original brown. Now I'm going to put a layer of shellac on here. This goes on my spray can. It's going to make your life so much easier with the trigger so you don't have to do this with your finger. And that, you'll love it. If you don't have one of those, you need one. Okay, so why am I using shellac? This is a transitional coat for me. I'm going from oil-based gel stains to a water-based top coat because I don't want this to yellow. And, you know, if I used an oil-based top coat on top of my oil-based stain, over time it's going to amber and get into some tones that we're not really looking to have. I love the water-based top coats. This is my top coat, and they are very durable. I use a high-quality top coat. I'm going to do multiple layers of it, but that's going to give me the color stability that I really want. And I just really enjoy these water-based top coats. I think it's a wonderful product. You'll see I'm putting this on with my Earlex sprayer. So it's just the atomization of this sprayer is super fine, and it just gives me a really, really nice finish. Okay, once I get all of the top coat on there and it has a good chance to dry, I'm going to sand everything. I'm using a sanding sponge here that's about a 400 grit, and it doesn't take much. It might look like I'm sanding this, but that is actually a pretty smooth sponge. And then I'm wiping everything down with a wet microfiber towel just to get all of that fine dust off, and then another layer of top coat. Now I'm going to just rinse and repeat. This is going to be top coat and sanding and top coat and sanding, top coat and sanding. And this goes on for a couple of days just so I can get multiple layers on here. Because again, I want it to be pretty, but I want this to be super, super durable. So more top coat, more sanding, more top coat. Let's take a look back at where this table started. Now, we didn't touch any of the legs. The clients loved the legs the way they were. They just wanted to fix the top. And here's my final coat of top coat. And let's see how it matches my example. When that dries down, I think it's pretty darn close. And here it is back in its home. It really turned out lovely. It's just what they were looking for. And if you're interested in learning more about stripping furniture, the entire process from chemical strippers to scrapers and sanders, be sure to pick up my book. It's available on my website.